Send. What the heck? Will you look at this? There's actually legitimate mail in my junk mail folder. What good is that? If it's in my junk mail folder, then I have to look there as well as in my inbox. That makes absolutely no sense to me. Hi, I'm Dave Berlin with ZDNet, and it's time for another technology shakedown. It's been about 5 years since we first started looking seriously into the spam problem, and a lot of the vendors in the email community, especially a lot of the big email service providers, told us that by now the problem might not be completely solved, but at least we would have a handle on spam. But if you ask me, and you look at my junk mail folder, it's anything but. In fact, it's getting worse. For example, here's the junk email folder in my Outlook, and as you can see, practically every other email has been classified as spam when it's actually legitimate mail. Caitlin, I wish I could tell you why it was that your email got classified as spam, but quite frankly, that's one of the problems with the system. It doesn't tell us what it's doing. And if you're thinking of singling out Microsoft as being the culprit because I just showed you a problem with Outlook, hold your breath. As it turns out, Google's Gmail is also fallible. Here in the spam folder of my Gmail account is a message from my partner Doug Gold. Doug Gold and I started a company called MassEventsLabs.com. Ironically, the email service for MassEventsLabs.com is hosted by Google. Email technology vendors will have you believe that the solution to the problem lies in their proprietary anti-spam technology, but that's simply not the case, judging by the fact that there are more spammers and more spam on the internet than there ever was before. In fact, the only way we're going to see a strategic solution to the problem is if the major email technology vendors get together, develop some anti-spam standards, and then globally embrace them. Who are those major email technology vendors? Well, there's only 4 that count: AOL, Google, Microsoft, and Yahoo. You get those 4 companies to work together on a handful of anti-spam standards, and the rest of the world will have no choice but to follow. And if you don't want to take my word for it, then listen to Matthew Glotzback. He's the Director of Product Management at Google Enterprise.
Seems to me like there's 4 vendors who could get together and figure this thing out, and then everybody would have to follow them, right?
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay, you, AOL, Microsoft, and Yahoo. The 4 of you did something about this, and the world would be left with no choice but to follow.
That would that's a safe assumption.
I'm saddling you with that responsibility, okay?
I'll get right on it.
There are a handful of approaches to fighting the spam problem in the marketplace that have the potential to turn into standards. 2 of them are Yahoo's domain keys, and another one is called Sender Policy Framework. But there are 2 problems with them. One, neither is embraced globally by all email solution providers. And 2, they only address one part of the spam problem. We need standards to address all of the other parts of the spam problem. And there was a point when the industry tried to get together under the auspices of the Internet Engineering Task Force to come up with some anti-spam standards, but that project blew up when Microsoft said it held some patents on some of the technologies as a part of its Sender ID technology. Microsoft eventually did open up its Sender ID technology for use by others, but since then there's been no cross-industry activity. In fact, matters have gotten worse because now what we're seeing is just little pockets of cooperation between a couple companies. For example, just the other day, Yahoo and eBay agreed to work together to combat a certain type of spam known as phishing. The effort involves Yahoo's technology, domain keys, but the problem is that not all of the email technology providers out there support it. This raises certain questions. For example, in order to keep the phishers at bay, do I have to subscribe to a Yahoo email account as opposed to one from AOL, Microsoft, or Google? So if you've sent an email to somebody and haven't received a reply because it ended up in their spam folder, don't blame them. Blame the industry. It's up to AOL, Yahoo, Google, and Microsoft to solve the problem. Together, they can actually do it, and we're waiting for them to do it, and I'm asking them to do it. Now, if you've got an idea for a technology shakedown, write to me at david.berlin@cnet.com, and maybe we'll feature it here. For ZDNet, with another one of my technology shakedowns, I'm David Berlin. This technology is useless.